suspensions haven't been kind to the team?
No, they haven't. So, we tried to appeal that the other night, and we weren't successful. We have been in the past, but we weren't the other night. So, we'll get on with it.
Is the game getting it right?
I don't think so. I've said my bit before. The idea is on track as far as reducing head highs. Head highs and concussions aren't completely aligned, so it's not all through that. So you've got to separate those arguments a bit. And I've said my piece. I think they've gone a bit too far on the way. I said it a couple of weeks ago. But they've held the line, and the game is what it is at the moment. So our job is to adapt and play the game that's in front of us. So we need to do that.
A lot of your team, your players don't seem to be that satisfied with what's going on in the field.
Do you mean from
the way it's being handled and sin bins, and there's been a bit of anger towards the way it's been done?
I wouldn't say, you probably have to give examples of that, Danny.
Well, Luke Keary was saying that he feels it's been done totally wrong. The NRL's got it wrong the way they're handling it.
Yeah, I mean, Luke's an intelligent guy, and he's he is looking at the game, and he doesn't like the game that he sees at the moment. He's not at the moment playing, but him as a leading player in the game and a part of the committees is not in agreement with what he's seeing and what the product that he wants from a player's point of view, and that's and I think it's good to have players give their point of view on the way that they're seeing it. We're not all robots. Players should have their own point of view, and Luke's expressed that privately and now publicly.
Do you back his view?
Yeah, to some extent, definitely. I think it's no different. I think I come at it from a different angle. I'm supportive. This is what I do, support Luke's views, because I'm very supportive of reducing concussion. I don't think it could be clearer than that over the last couple of years. We don't want head highs in the game. We understand that. And then the method that you go about it, they're slightly off. And that's what Luke's voiced his opinion on, and that's what I've voiced my opinion on. But that's not going to change. So my job as a coach, Luke's job is to get his knee right and continue on that path, and my job is to coach the game as it is each weekend. So therefore you hold your cool and you keep moving forward.
Robbo, Victor was quite vocal about and adamant about not changing his technique. It must be hard for them, as I say, he's been taught by some great players, and they've been doing it since under fives.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. When you teach a player to play, you don't teach them to go out there and think. You don't walk out on the field and constantly think. So this is, I guess, the speed at which they've introduced it is the issue, because players don't think on the field, they act. And if you think you can change a player's behaviour within a week, then you don't understand human behaviour. Players need to practice and train, and then you create behaviours. So it takes some time. So that's what Victor's saying. He's got a very good tackle technique that he admitted it needs to go lower. So there's no doubt that he needs to go lower. But he's also right that all these people are saying you should tackle low. If just tackle low, well, you're going to get knocked out more. If the idea is to reduce concussions, then don't ask the players to all go low on the tackles. So again, they're individual guys. We don't tell them what to think. Luke and Rads have got big enough mouths that they can talk for themselves, and that's great. And their opinions spot on for the way they feel about the game and the way they should tackle. Victor said that he needs to get his tackle lower, so that's, he's not saying what he got charged for wasn't right. He believes in the judiciary, but he does. It's silly to think that everyone should start tackling low. That's archaic.
Expressing their opinion, is it being listened to? If not, then what does that say?
That I don't know, Jim. I don't know whether they're listening to opinions or not. There isn't any feedback about these rule changes. There's just they're asking for adaptation. So that's what we're doing.
Is that good enough, though?
Look.
You are the key stakeholders, the players and the coaches.
Yeah, I don't. They're obviously listening to some. I'm trying to get on with my job about winning each week. You know, if someone wants to ask my opinion, I'll give it, but we don't have a platform. The players do have a platform to offer their opinion, and I know they're unhappy that they haven't been listened to from a player's point of view. Coaches, we're an individual entity. We don't have a group. We're not supported collectively by a voice at the moment, which we'd like to be. But so if someone wants an opinion, there's a forum here. But you know, as I said, it's a hard one for me. I'm not too emotional about it because I need to win on the weekend. That's the focus. That's what you've got to do.
Have you sort of joined the chorus now with coaches that go, okay, well, we can't do much about our technique at the moment. In the middle of the season, let's worry about winning with 12 men?
No, well, there's things that you but this is the thing. I do believe that you can adjust technique. So we've talked about it a lot, and you do, but it does take time. You can't just say something on a Wednesday and for it to change on a Thursday. It does take some time. So it's up to us. That what they've said to us is, as coaches, is change your coaching behaviours. So we need to introduce some things that do shift the height of the tackle more and more. So that's on us to coach into the players, but it does take some practice.
Have you been practicing it this week with the lower tackles?
No, we haven't. We don't practice. We practice all sorts of tackles: low tackles, high tackles, below the neck and shoulder.
Oh dear.
What, did I say that? No, you practice different heights of tackles, but no, we're not changing our system. We're changing the consistency of the height of our tackles.
Should you have been asked about it before it all happened, Trent? You're a senior coach.
Oh, no, that's what those committees are for. There's competition committees in most competitions around the world, and we've got a couple of coaches apparently on the competition committee, and they're experienced enough. They don't need the opinion of everybody. They need the opinion of some people. So that could have improved as far as I know.
Set off quite emotional, you want to take things more emotionally. Is that part of it as well? Just trying to get them to think that calm if someone does it?
Yeah, so how do you... People come out to watch. We're gonna. So this is it. We want to put on a product. I've always said we're in entertainment. So people come out to watch players play a sport that they love watching, that there's lots of action. They want to see lots of action take place, but they also want to see the traits that they admire on the field. So you don't want to take that emotion away. You just don't want to overcompensate where it turns into sort of the actions that we don't want to see, the rage where it goes too far, which is where it is in danger for the opposition players, or it's a danger for us staying on the field. You've got to keep that in check.
How do you address that? Because obviously it affected performance as well, just mentioning that.
Quickly. You don't need to spend long on that. Everyone understands that discipline cost us last weekend, and that was on us. So, you touch on it very quickly and you move on.
Is Joseph playing this week?
Is Joseph playing this week? He's in the 18. Did I give you the same answer last week?
Yeah.
He's in the 18.
That gave it away.
Right. He's in the 18.
Pretty big week this week, indigenous round. I mean, club's got a pretty big, I guess, there's been a lot of indigenous players who've played for the club. The IDBs, and I mean, it must be pretty special, having a round to celebrate with those people.
Yeah, we're really excited about wearing the jersey this weekend. It's a very important round. I think this represents our admiration and acknowledgement of the First Nations peoples and their ownership of this land before we got here, and to say, look, there's still work to be done on the reconciliation that needs to be done, and rugby league plays a part in saying thank you, and we want to represent you this weekend. So we're really proud of the jersey that we're wearing this weekend, and the artists that provided the jersey.
The Raiders seem to be having a lot of issues. What do you expect from them this week?
To be honest, Danny, I haven't thought much about it. I think I saw George went home or was released or is going home, so I understood that. And to be honest, our bid is, okay, who's going to play in his spot, and what do we need to do about it? We're at that point where we need to improve from last week. We're disappointed, so we want to get on the front foot. So they're, whatever 17 they put out, we're ready to play.
It's not an issue for your club, but in the game has been big news today. Jack Cameron will be allowed to play again. How do you think the game's handled it, and how do you think what will that mean for the Dragons?
I think that game's handled it really well. I supported at the time the stand down and then the level at which it was at which charges were laid against somebody and whether they were stood down. And then, unfortunately for Jack, he was the charges have been dropped and he wasn't able to play during that time. But I support the NRL on the stance on that, and then Jack can get back to playing his game, but he has lost a fair bit of time. So we let justice do the work, but it was a tough stance, but I think it was also needed from the NRL going forward as well.
Just one last one. It's more broadly on Origin, but
Yep.
back to the themes about how the game's been interpreted by those in the middle. Do you fear that an Origin theatre that we know is all about the battle and the aggression
Yeah.
could be a bit undone?
Yeah, let it play. Let it play. It's the biggest sporting event in Australia. Let them get uncomfortable. Let them be brutal. Let them play. Let us watch something. Let's get the largest crowds in Australia to watch the sport that we want to aspire to. Kids to play, to other players to play in. Let's let them play.
Does that mean not enforce the rules as heavily as they have been at club level?
No, don't.
Don't do it?
Don't do it. If it's bad, then they should go off anyway. But if we don't want taps going off the field. We don't want stop-start. We let them play. Let the gladiators go at it. That's what we love to see.
Trent, there's been a bit of pressure on Sam Walker defensively just in the last couple of weeks. It's inside. So just expecting to bounce back this week. How's he been at training?
Yeah, Sam's been really good. It's been physically, tough. Probably since he did his AC at the start of the year, he's had needles right from the start of the year, and we thought we were over it. And he got one again against Newcastle, and then also rolled his ankle. So it's been physically quite tough. And I've said it's great. It's good learnings for us. We love the way he plays, but he's just got to keep adapting, which is good.
And you got any updates on Drew Hutchison? How's he coping?
Yeah, Drew went back in hospital again for the third time and had to have an operation there to the lung collapsed for the third time, and he got it stuck back down on Tuesday. It's been a pretty rugged time for Drew. His recovery should still be quite quick, but he needed an operation to help that lung stay inflated there.
So Angus or Victor, out. Are you using the light on? I guess we can take for
No. No, we're right. The squad's good. We'll be ready to play.
Just talking about Origin as well, as a fan of the game, first and foremost, in light of Melbourne's COVID crisis, do you think NRL should make a call and get out of Melbourne?
That is out of my lane. Okay, that's. I think I've gone out of my lane slightly today. I think I'll stay in my lane when it comes to COVID and Melbourne.
On the Central Coast this week as well. It's become part of the Roosters junior base. I mean, you got two blokes on the side, Kieran and Iqbal.
Yeah.
There. I mean, it must be good, going up there and you'll be sort of, showing the community a bit of love.
Yeah, we've had a best ever year. The Central Coast Roosters have had their best ever year. Winning some competitions in the country carnivals there, and then the final series. So it's been a really good few years there on the Central Coast. We've obviously got Matt and Adam coming through. We've got younger guys that are starting to train with us from the Central Coast. So it's good to go up there and represent this weekend.
Thanks, Trent.
Thank you.